Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to today's webinar, TISAX webinar for Stellantis suppliers focused on CSR. Your presenter today is Kumar Savan. Kumar leads the TISAX and cybersecurity practice at Omnex, bringing over 25 years of global experience in high-volume manufacturing across the automotive and electronics sectors. He specializes in implementing and auditing TISAX requirements, helping organizations align with stringent information security standards specific to the automotive industry. Kumar's background includes roles in design and release program management, where he successfully managed product launches worldwide. In addition to his expertise in product design and auditing and supply management, he is a certified auditor with hands-on experience in supplier development. At Omnex, Kumar regularly conducts TISAX and information security audits, supporting clients in enhancing their security posture and achieving compliance across the supply chain. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, I kindly ask that you type them in the chat box and we will address as many as we can at the end of the webinar. Now, without further ado, please welcome Kumar.
Thank you, Kelsey. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. Kelsey, is the PowerPoint coming through okay?
Yes, it is.
All right, thank you.
Of
so
course.
This is the agenda of what we're going to go through. The DNV introduction that you have there, that we're going to do towards the end. I am going to start off with some general background information on TISAX, protection goals and organizational assets that require protection. And like Kelsey just mentioned, this presentation is more tailored for suppliers of Stellantis. So towards the latter half of this presentation, we will talk specifics about what Stellantis requires from their supply chain for TISAX certification. I will roughly finish at the 40-minute point, and what's going to happen at that stage is this is a joint presentation. Omnex works closely with several registrars, and DNV is one of the registrars that we partner with a lot. We have Manuel Marco, who I will introduce when I get to the end of my presentation. And Manuel is going to share some information about DNV and what their offerings are in terms of getting you certified, the assessors they have, and some background on DNV as a global registrar organization that would play a key part in your TISAX certification. After the DNV portion, we will have roughly 10 to 15 minutes at the end for Q&A. So if you have questions, please make sure you put your questions in the chat window. We will try to address the questions towards the end of the presentation before we wind up for the day. So this is what Kelsey covered. I will go through this. TISAX, so Trusted Information Security Assessment Exchange. That is what TISAX stands for. It is put out by the ENX Association, and ENX was formed in the year 2000. And it's a group of automotive companies that have come together. It started out mainly in Europe, and there are 4 different European automotive companies that or associations that have come together for the ENX Association, and there's a total of 15 members that make up ENX. So this is an alphabetical list, starting with Audi all the way down to VDA organization in Germany. VDA stands for the German Automobile Union. That's car makers like Daimler, BMW, VW, Porsche are all part of the VDA organization. So ENX is the entity that manages all things TISAX. ENX.com is the website that perhaps many of you are already familiar with. We will talk more about that shortly in the next slides. Why information security is important to OEMs. Okay, and this in the red here at the bottom left, TISAX is now a formal requirement to win new contracts. Okay, OEMs collaborate with multiple companies across their supply chain. Okay, and in this day and age, we hear about companies being hacked almost every week, and their information or intellectual property is compromised. Their data may be held hostage to ransomware and things like that. So it is not enough if the OEMs have their information well protected and they have a nice safeguard around their information, because the moment they share intellectual property information with their suppliers, and if there are weak links in the supply chain, then it could be compromised, and that poses a risk to the OEMs. So that's why OEMs want to ensure that information security is adequately covered at the supplier as well. IATF, if you're automotive in the automotive industry, IATF you should be already familiar with. That stands for International Automotive Task Force. IATF is a group of little over a dozen car makers worldwide that have come together to put out the IATF 16949 standard that was originally released in 2016. It used to be TS 16949 that evolved into IATF 16949. This, at the bottom here, 6123 is Business Contingency Plan, which is a clause in the IATF standard. And the reason I have this shown at the bottom is the Business Contingency Plan, through changes to the IATF standard since it was first released in 2016, they have updated it with increased focus on cybersecurity. And also you see references to GDPR, which is General Data Protection Regulation, which is a European Union requirement if you're handling personally identifiable information. And it has regulations that you have to follow to protect PII. And the 6123 clause also extends beyond your information technology infrastructure to your operations technology infrastructure. What that means is a lot of equipment on the shop floor these days are connected to the internet. There's a lot of equipment these days that have sensors in it that are beaming signals or data into the air that can be captured by Wi-Fi networks. And there are apps that can take that data that is put out by the sensors, and you can create a dashboard. And from that, you can determine the health of the equipment that is operating on your shop floor, right? But when you have equipment that can talk to the internet or put out vital signs into the Wi-Fi network, it is also potentially open to other bad actors that can get into it and cause it to malfunction. So IATF, especially the 6123 clause, goes into cybersecurity to a great extent, as does the TISAX standard. Why do we need TISAX certification? To protect organizational assets, such as the ones that I just talked about, and then to protect customer and combined intellectual property from threats or loss. Have you ever panicked when you lost, say, a mobile device? And cell phones are very easy to lose or misplace. And quite often they could have vital information on it that if you misplace it and if it's compromised or other people have access to it, it can be a problem for the company. Or if you have a prototype that you have spent a lot of time and effort and domain expertise into building, if you misplace it or lose a prototype, that can also affect your competitive edge in the marketplace. If you've ever been hit with a ransomware attack, or if you've ever had the blue screen of death. So this is something that about 6 or 7 months ago, when the company CrowdStrike deployed a patch without adequate testing, millions of computers across the globe had the possibility to see a blue screen. Airline operations were affected, involving losses into the billions of dollars that was caused by it. So TISAX is a framework that is designed to avoid situations like this. ENX Association, this is a snapshot of the website, ENX website. And in the ENX website, the arrows are pointing to two key links in the ENX website. One is the participant handbook. This is an excellent resource. And by the way, all of this is completely free. You don't even have to register to be able to access these things. You can go on the ENX website, enx.com, and you can download these resources that are available. So the first thing you would do is download the participant handbook. That is well worth reading to familiarize yourself with what's involved in getting into TISAX certification. The downloads is where you can download key resources for TISAX implementation. One of the key resources is the ISA. The ISA is the Information Security Assessment, which is an Excel document. And that is kind of like your Bible for TISAX. It has all the controls that are essential to implementing TISAX. There's a total of 80 controls that we will talk about soon. Okay, so downloading the ISA and going over it is something that will help you understand what the requirements are. All right, obtaining the desired TISAX label. Okay, in the case of ISO standards, you go for a certificate, which is a piece of paper that you either get a PDF or a paper that you actually frame and you can post it in your lobby or in your main conference room and things like that. In the case of TISAX, when you go through the audit and you pass the audit, you are awarded a label that is uploaded to the ENX website. And that way your customers, your suppliers can access the ENX website and they can look up which companies have been awarded the TISAX label and what level is the label at and so on. So you have to obtain the desired TISAX label, and going for the desired label is a combination of the label that the customer expects, the label that you as an organization want. So, and it's a good idea not just to look at what's the customer asking for, it's a good idea to also look at what other customers you may be going after for business and what the other customer needs may be, and also look at your own internal needs and determine what label is most appropriate for our information security framework, okay? So all of that, so there's external needs, internal wants, and all of that put together helps you make a decision on what the desired label should be. This is talking about maturity levels. And in the ISA document that I talked about, it describes what the maturity level requirements are for each of these levels, starting with level 1 all the way through level 5. Level 1 is at the bottom, level 5 is at the top. For certification, you are expected to be at a maturity level of 3 or better. Okay, and we will talk more about that shortly. So yeah, level 3 or better is the target maturity that you're going for in your information network. This is a table that describes the different levels for the labels that you can get: assessment level 1, level 2, level 3. Most customers either ask for a level 2 or level 3. Okay, and these are some assessment methods associated with each of the levels. So for all of the levels, you have to do a self-assessment of the ISA. The amount of evidence that is required to show that the controls are in place. So in the case of AL2, it's a plausibility assessment. In the case of AL3, it's an in-depth assessment. So there's a lot more sampling that happens in the case of an AL3. Also, in the case of interviews, in the case of AL2, it can be done mostly via remote, Zoom calls or Teams calls, etc. In the case of AL3, it's done as an on-site interview. And audits, again, in the case of AL2, it is mostly remote. In the case of AL3, it's almost always an on-site audit involving sampling of different processes, different individuals as a cross-section of the organization. This is a comparison between TISAX and 27001. ISO 27001 is the Information Security Management System. Many of you are probably already familiar with ISO 9001 or IATF 16949. That has a QMS, or a Quality Management System. ISO 27001 is the information security equivalent of that. So it has an ISMS, the Information Security Management System. TISAX highly recommends incorporating a 27001 style ISMS as a basis, because there's a lot of commonality between TISAX and 27001. 27001 ISMS is more general and broad-based. It applies to a variety of industries. TISAX the focus is narrow. The focus is automotive industry. But a lot of the controls from the 27001 ISMS are similar to what TISAX expects. And TISAX, in addition to what 27001 has, it goes into greater detail on prototype protection, how if you're having vehicles being tested, if you're having prototypes that are in your facility that are going through testing, or if you have proving grounds where you are doing durability testing and so on, how you are ensuring that prototypes are adequately protected from being photographed, or information about what goes into components that go into a prototype getting out into the marketplace before you're ready to reveal that to the market. The structure of the TISAX standard, it's not a complete management system. And the filled-in ISA becomes the SOA. So the ISA, again, is the Information Security Assessment. When you go through the ISA and you fill it in, that becomes your SOA. And some of you are probably thinking, what is an SOA? So in the case of 27001, it is a complete management system. You have an ISMS, which represents the management system for 27001. And it has a formal statement of applicability. That's what is SOA. The statement of applicability in the case of 27001 addresses the 93 controls that make up Annex A of ISO 27001. So at the back end of the 27001 standard is Annex A, which includes 93 controls. And you go through each of those controls, and for each of them, you have to determine, is this control applicable? Is it in scope or out of scope? And if it is out of scope, you have to provide justification for why that control does not apply to your system. But if the control is in scope, then as a next step, you have to have some kind of policy or procedure that addresses the requirements of that control. And you have to have evidence that deploying that control actually manages the risks that that control is looking to address. Okay, so you go through the 93 controls, and that becomes your statement of applicability. Type of certification, I already mentioned in the case of TISAX, you get labels that are published on the ENX platform. In the case of 27001, you get a certificate issued after a stage 2 audit. Validity, both of them are valid for 3 years. One key difference in the case of TISAX, there is no annual surveillance audits. You won't have a surveillance audit on year 1 and year 2, and then year 3 becomes a recertification audit. In the case of 27001, it's like any other ISO standard. Year 1 and year 2, after you're first certified, will be surveillance audits. Year 3 will be the recertification audit. That doesn't mean that once you get TISAX certified, you get to skate and you get to relax for 3 years. You are expected to go through the ISA on a periodic basis and rescore yourself, because your system is changing year after year. You may be adding new customers. You may be adding new processes. So because the system is changing, you have to periodically rescore yourself on the ISA. Confidentiality, integrity, availability. CIA for short. These are the most important deliverables from the ISMS. What do you expect a good ISMS to deliver? CIA of data. So your data needs to be kept confidential. The integrity of the data needs to be protected so the data doesn't get corrupted when it is in storage or when it is in transit. And availability of data needs to be available to the right people at the right speed without lag time and things like that. Okay, and there's very high protection needs and high protection needs, which we will talk about. And there's must and should requirements, which we will also talk about shortly. Organizational assets that require protection with controls. So I have this slide here to show you the variety of assets that most organizations have. When we talk about assets with TISAX, most people think of laptops or servers, routers, switches, those kinds of things. But this slide is there to show you that there is much more by way of assets than just IT physical assets. Okay, you have intellectual property, financials, code and architecture if you're a software developer, customer-owned data or tools, personal data, product designs, trade secrets, organizational knowledge, and so on. All of these are assets. You have to classify the assets that you have. You have to assign owners to your assets. And each asset category could have risks to those assets. At the end of the day, this is a risk management exercise. By asset category, you have to identify and assigned risks. You have to manage the risks and make sure that risks are adequately mitigated, and there are lessons learned and continuous improvement and so on from that exercise. This is the same set of assets categorized into three high-level categories: physical assets, information assets, and people assets. So for example, people assets are employees, contractors, any other individuals who may have access to your information network. All right. ISO 27001 and TISAX. This slide is mainly to point out the difference in scope. So when you think of scope, you have to think in terms of boundaries, what's included, what's excluded. So the scope of the ISMS and scope of the assessment. In the case of scope of the ISMS, that is something that is similar to scope of the QMS, which should be covered in your quality manual. And in the case of the ISMS, should be covered in your ISMS manual. What does the information security management system encompass? Scope of the assessment is slightly different. So for TISAX, scope of assessment is predefined. Scope of the assessment can be smaller than the scope of your ISMS, but it must be within the scope of your ISMS. So this is something that you would define as your scope of the assessment before you go into your TISAX implementation. All right. So the ISA is a comprehensive framework to evaluate and standardize information. And key features of ISA in TISAX. So the assessment framework. So I mentioned earlier that TISAX recommends the setting up of an ISMS as a best practice in order to come up with a good TISAX framework that works for you as an organization, and you're able to achieve the intended results of CIA, right? Confidentiality, integrity, and availability. It should be aligned with ISO 27001. Customization includes additional controls not found in ISO 27001. So the prototype protection is what is the additional controls that TISAX, remember I told you TISAX is more automotive focused. And then it's also structured by domains. So information security, connection to third parties, data protection, which has the GDPR requirements and so on. Okay, and the assessment process. Organizations use the ISA to assess their own information security practices or prepare for an external assessment by an accredited TISAX audit provider. So if you go on the ENX website, there is a list of accredited audit providers on the ENX website that you can pick from for your TISAX assessment. DMV is one of them. You will hear from DMV very shortly. Okay, these are the must and should requirements that I talked about. So the must requirements in TISAX, which are contained in the ISA document, they are the equivalent of the shalls in a ISO standard. So you may be familiar with the shalls in an ISO standard. That typically you need to have evidence that the shalls are adequately covered and incorporated into your processes. The same way, the must requirements in the ISA should be adequately covered and incorporated into your controls and processes. Okay. Anything that is a must requirement is a non-negotiable. You have to make sure your system meets that must requirement. Non-compliance with the must requirement can result in failure to achieve TISAX certification. Should requirements is in addition to must requirements. If you also incorporate the should requirements, your ISMS is going to be that much better and more mature. But non-compliance with the should requirement doesn't necessarily lead to you failing the TISAX audit. But the must requirements, at a minimum, you have to have. All right. So this is from the ISA. The three key tabs in the ISA are the Information Security tab, Prototype Protection tab, and the Data Protection tab. These are the, this is straight out of the participant handbook that I talked about earlier, okay? You have info high, very high, strictly confidential or confidential, and high availability or very high availability. Now, all of this is associated with information that is in your TISAX framework. These are requirements when it comes to prototype parts or prototype vehicles, test, how you handle test vehicles or handle events that involve taking photos or filming. And then this is data protection. There is data and special data. And these are subject to GDPR regulations. And all of this is from the TISAX participant handbook. This is an overall summary of the three tabs that we just looked at: information security, prototype, and data. And wherever you see a high, it's an AL2, very high, it's an AL3. So this is the assessment level. So which ones require AL2 and which ones require AL3? This is a quick summary of the number of controls in TISAX ISA. There's a total of 80 controls, 46 in InfoSec, 22 in prototype, and 12 in data protection. And you have to score a maturity level of 3 or better on each of these controls to be eligible for certification. This is a spider chart. When you score yourself on the ISA, all the scores are populated onto this results tab that creates the spider chart, and you're going for an average of 3 for the maturity rating on the spider chart. All right. I am almost done here. I'm sorry that there's a lot of information here. I hope I'm not going too fast here. I want to get done in the next 5 minutes so I can hand off to Manuel here. So Omnex recommends TISAX and 27001, and ISO 27001 follows the same high-level structure as ISO 9001 or IATF, etc. What that means is the clause structure is very similar. Clause 5 is leadership, clause 6 is planning, clause 7 is infrastructure, clause 8 is operations. So the clause structure is the same high-level structure as other ISO standards you may be familiar with. And ISO 27001 integrates well with other standards. So if you're already working to 9001 or IATF, you can integrate 27001 into those standards to form an integrated management system, okay? And it's a good idea to work hand in hand with TISAX and 27001 and other standards that you may already be working to. This is a sample, a generic sample of an ISMS process map, okay? So you have inputs from the customer or regulatory authorities here that feed into your process map. And the output is CIA, right? In the case of ISMS, you want confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information. And Omnex typically recommends separating the process map into management-oriented processes at the top, support-oriented processes at the bottom, and core processes. So this is your main bread and butter, core processes in the middle. Each of these processes should have a designated owner that is the process owner for the process. Each of these processes should have KPIs assigned to it that you are measuring on a regular basis and tracking and reporting into management review. Okay. This is the documentation structure. Auditors typically look at level 1, 2, 3, 4 in terms of documentation structure. Level 1 is always the highest level, the ISMS manual. Level 2 is the SOPs that deal with the who does what when in the process. So each of these processes here will have an SOP that addresses the who, what, when. If there are complex steps in the SOP, you further elaborate it into step 1, step 2, step 3. That's the how. That's work instruction. And then a level 4 is a record. So if you have forms or checklists, when you fill those out with an activity that you perform against a process, that becomes a record. All right, Stellantis. So these are, next couple of slides are what's relevant to Stellantis suppliers. And this, what you see here is a PDF that's published by Stellantis that you can download from the Stellantis website. So they recommend aligning your system with 27001 and creating an ISMS, which we've talked about. These are the 3 levels: AL1 for low sensitivity, AL2 for moderate sensitivity, and AL3 for high sensitivity. Okay, and then you have compliance expectations. So this is GDPR for anything that involves data and personal information. So that's compliance expectations, and then this is sustainability and broader ethical compliance. This goes into environmental sustainability and other stuff that, as needed, you may be expected to follow. Okay, and then this slide is again straight out of the PDF that Stellantis issues, and you see on the right-hand side, based on what type of supplier you are, whether you require an AL2 or AL3 certification. And then it's broken up into high availability, very high availability, data, special data, strictly confidential, and so on. So this talks about the different categories of suppliers here. And it says with ADP less than $6,000 or ADP greater than $6,000. I had some trouble looking up what ADP is, and I came up with Authority Definition Plan. So they have some way that they separate out suppliers with Authority Definition Plan less than $6,000 and greater than $6,000. Please don't ask me what Authority Definition Plan is. If you're working with Stellantis, hopefully your people know what Authority Definition Plan is and how they draw this line on less than 6,000 and more than 6,000. But this talks about the different types of requirements, and by the type of supplier that you are, what level of assessment you need to go for. I believe Stellantis has set a date by middle of 2026 when they expect suppliers to be TISAX certified. So it's a good idea to start the journey now, especially if you have nothing in place, because it's going to take you, I would say 6 to 9 months at a minimum to get to the point where you will be ready for an external audit. Okay, so these are the requirements that are in Stellantis. So that is my part, and I want to introduce Manuel Marco to you at this point from DNV. Manuel, I've known him for several years, and Manuel is the director of sales for the Western Territory, and he has automotive responsibility for all of North America. Manuel is originally from Spain, and he has several decades of experience. He started out doing audits, both in ISO 9001, TS 16949 back then. He is bilingual, and he has been doing audits in both Spanish and English. He started out in Spain and in Europe, and then he moved over to North America. He now makes his home in Irvine, California, and he heads up sales activity for DNV. There is his contact information on this as well, and I will pass it on to Manuel to say a few words about what DNV can offer you.
Mark, thank you very much for the introduction. If we can go to the next slide. Basically, the first thing that I want to do is just a brief introduction on DNV, on our company. We are one of the certification bodies approved by the ENX to perform the TISAX assessments and help customers obtain the TISAX label that Kumar has already explained. Just briefly about DNV. DNV was founded in 1864, and from the beginning, the purpose of DNV has been safeguard life, property, and environment. Our vision is to be a trusted voice to tackle global transformations. We are organized in 6 business areas. I work for business assurance, the first one that you have on the slide. We are the certification body, the registrar part of DNV. So what we do is the audits and third-party audits and certifications, as well as training and other assessments. And TISAX or TISAX is one of them. In addition to business assurance, we have maritime, which is where DNV started back in 1864. Energy systems, where we have expertise. We have on energy systems, we have expertise on oil, gas, from oil and gas to all the way to smart grids, no, and solar systems and wind farms, etc. We have another business area, which is digital solutions, which is part of what they do is cybersecurity, supply chain and product assurance, and the accelerator for new services, yes, to start new services. Just a few key figures for you to have a sense of DNV. In terms of the business assurance part, the certification, we have more than 30 accreditations worldwide. We have more than 100,000 customers in 100 plus countries. We have more than 15,000 employees. Our retention rate is 92%. We have plenty of nationalities, more than 110. In terms of certifications, we have above 90,000 certifications worldwide, which have been achieved through more than 3,400 auditors. Our client retention is 95%, and something unique about DNV is that every year, 5% of our revenue is dedicated on research and development projects. Finally, about DNV, our values: we care, we dare, and we share. And today's my participation here is part of the third value, we share. So if we can go to the next slide, what you are going to see now is a very easy process. The hardest part is what Kumar has already presented. The hardest part is for our customers, for you, to define the scope of your TISAX, what is going to be the scope of your TISAX assessment, obviously implement your information security management system, and all the applicable controls based on the TISAX assessment objectives that you need to comply with. That's what Kumar has already explained. So basically, you have to define your scope. You have to confirm what are the assessment objectives that you need to comply with. And based on that, when you have that, then you need to generate through the ENX portal. In the ENX portal, you need to generate a document which is called a scope exert. The scope exert is a very simple document with basically you are going to put there the scope, the site or location. It could be offices, it could be manufacturing sites, offices, the design of a manufacturing site with the design office supporting the manufacturing site, as well as sales offices, warehouse, whatever you want to include on your TISAX assessment. And it will have also the assessment objectives that you need to comply. In addition, you will have 2 or 3 more pieces of information. What is the maturity system of your information security management system? What is the maturity? If you have other certifications already or not, like for example, ISO 27001. And then you need to indicate there, it will be in this document, what is the size, no? I mean, how many people on each location, how many on IT, how many on information security. With that document is actually all what we need to start. So if you share that document with me, if you share that document with DNB, with us, and you tell us when are you going to be ready and by when do you need to have your label, your TISAX label, then what we will do is we will plan with you the assessment, the audit. We will start from the end. When do you need to have the label? Backwards to the beginning to confirm when can we start working together with you and when we should schedule each activity. There are 4 activities which are mandatory on any TISAX assessment, which is, first of all, the kickoff meeting. The kickoff meeting, it will be with the lead assessor that we have assigned to you, and during that kickoff meeting, the lead assessor will explain to you what is all the things that we need to do until you get your TISAX label. That includes the documentation that you have, is confirmation with you on the scope of the assessment, confirmation of the assessment objectives, check where you are on your BDA ISA Excel spreadsheet that Kumar has explained, which is the key. That ISA Excel spreadsheet is your self-assessment. Basically, we need to be sure that you have everything before we go to step number 2, the second step, which is the document review. Also, during the kickoff meeting, the lead auditor or lead assessor will confirm with you when you are going to have the document, what documentation you need to provide to us, and when are you going to have it, and then we will confirm when we are going to perform your documentation review. So in the document, the outcome of the document review, it will be a report where we are going to tell you anything that could be missing or anything that may not be in compliance with the requirements of TISAX, the requirements that you need to comply. After we give you the report, what we are expecting, we will give you the report and we agree with you, we will discuss with you and agree on how much time you need to fix anything that we may have identified during the document review. And then there is where we are going to schedule our step number 3, which is the actual TISAX assessment. Kumar has already explained that the assessment could be level 2 or level 3. If it's a level 2, as Kumar has already indicated, we can perform your assessment remotely. We can use, we can use Zoom, we can use Teams, any tool that allows us to perform the assessment remotely. So we don't need to travel, we don't need to go physically there. If it's a level 3, then it's a requirement that the assessment is performed on site. So we will be at your premises performing physically the assessment. The outcome of the assessment is going to be a report. And we will go in the next slide, we will see a little bit more in detail what is the, what are the 3 possible outcomes of the assessment. Thank you, Kumar. So when we perform your assessment, again, it could be a level 2 remotely, level 3 on site. So it could be one of the 3 outcomes could be no findings. In that case, it will do, a technical review, which is mandatory for us. We'll do a technical review, and then we will upload your the final TISAX report along with all the required documentation. DNV, after we complete our technical review, we will upload everything, the package, in the ENX portal. And sure after is when you are going to receive your TISAX label, which, as Kumar has indicated before, is good for 3 years, for 36 months. Now, the second most common outcome of the assessment is that there are some minor findings, no? Could be a few minor findings. What you need to do is, like you will do for ISO 9000 or AITF 6949, you just need to do a corrective action plan to address each one of these non-conformities. You address the non-conformities, and then we review it. We send to our technical team, review, approve, and upload in the ENX, and you get the label. The third option, it could be if you have a major non-conformity, one or more. Again, corrective action plan, we will review, but that may, depending on the severity of that major non-conformity, that may require a follow-up assessment. If it's resolved, after the follow-up assessment, the findings are resolved, again, you get your TISAX label. If it's not resolved, then we cannot issue the TISAX label. And just to finalize here, we can go back to the previous slide, just one more piece of information, and we finish. Is I wanted to just to insist on one thing. To start with us, all what we need is the scope extert. We don't even require, to make it easier for you, we don't even require to fill out a questionnaire. Just send us your scope extert and with your contact information to have a call with you and discuss your timing, and we will send you a formal proposal, and as soon as you are ready to sign, as soon as you sign it, we will start. It will take about 4 months from the point that you sign to the point that you can obtain your TISAX label. That's very important. Based on our experience, about 4 months is what it's taking. That's all from me. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Manuel. So this is the last slide, and I encourage those of you that have questions to start putting it in the chat window. So how do you get started? So Manuel just talked about the scope statement. Would you like your TISAX to be integrated with IATF or ISO 9001? That is something that Omnex can help you with. Are you interested in a standardized implementation for your organization? So one set of policies, guidelines for the organization. So we have integrated documentation as opposed to different sets of documentation for each of the management systems. So identifying process owners, assigning metrics, collecting data as part of the implementation, all of those things are what you would have to take up for TISAX. And this last bullet here, I'll talk about, even if your customer is not asking you to be TISAX certified, it's a good idea to have a information security management system in place, because this is a statistic from 2024. In North America, 50% of organizations have been hacked, and it cost them an average of $4.4 million to recover from the hack situation, whether it was ransomware or if it was reputation loss, all the things, loss of business, all of those things that they had to do in terms of recovering from the business continuity issue that they had from being hacked. That's the cost that they incurred. So it's a good idea to have an information security management system and TISAX in place, even if a customer is not looking for it. But this is something that I wanted to also share. Now we can actually look at any questions that you may have. I'm going to pull up the, okay. All right. First question I see is, what is the process to qualify as an auditor for TISAX, and who does this qualification? So this is a question from Gupta. I'm assuming you are asking the question relevant to performing the audits for your company as an internal auditor as opposed to a third-party registrar auditor. I don't claim to know all the requirements for a third-party registrar auditor because I'm not one. But the classes that Omnex offers for auditing, we certainly will cover the information that's required for you to become a qualified internal auditor. Again, the follow-up question, is it necessary that TISAX audit be done through a certification body, or individual qualified auditors can upload the on ENX? The answer to that is yes. TISAX audits have to be done by a qualified registrar. And on the ENX website, there is a list of authorized registrars. DNV is one of them, like I said. Only those accredited auditing companies that are listed on the ENX website can do the audits. I have another question from Nikhil. Does IEC 62443 have any relevance to TISAX? I'm afraid I don't have an answer for that, but I will look it up and provide you an answer, Nikhil. I apologize. I don't know if Manuel, if you know anything about IEC 62443.
I'm not familiar with that. I don't work with that standard, but like you, we can check, we can research on that and try to provide it.
All right, that's all the questions I see.
And in terms of a body to qualify, which is the body to qualify the registrars? So is the ENX. The ENX, Kumar has already explained what is the ENX. It's the German automakers union. This group is the one who have created TISAX. They are the ones who have established the rules, the requirements for the registrars, or the certification bodies performing the TISAX assessments, and they are the ones who have approved a few number of certification bodies that comply with all the requirements, and DNV is one of them.
Okay, I see one more question here. How do you suggest ISO 27001 TISAX management system procedures? You would have to, when you create an ISMS, if you recall the ISMS process map that I put up, it has roughly 15 to 20 different processes. Each of those processes, you would have to have a policy or a process that you use to manage that process that outlines the who does what, when in that process. So you would have to have processes outlined for all the processes or policies that make up your ISMS. And Omnex does a lot of documentation workshops. We can help you develop specific policies and procedures that define your ISMS. And we can walk you through what would be required, what would be relevant processes that would belong in your ISMS, and we can help you develop the right documentation to support that.
Yeah, and if I may, after, like Kumar has indicated, after you define your information security management system according to ISO 27001, then you add whatever information security control you need to, the information security controls that you need to comply for TISAX based on your assessment objectives. If there are controls that you have not, included yet or addressed yet, then you add in your information security management system defined by the ISO 27001 structure. So basically, they're 100% compatible. I mean, they're compatible, and the ideal way, as Kumar has indicated, is to establish first your system and then ensure that you have all the controls, information security controls that you need to comply with.
All right, we are at the end of the hour. I hope this was useful. And if you have further questions, please reach out to Omnex. We will be happy to support you in your TISAX journey. Thank you for your participation, and look forward to hearing from several of you and supporting you in your TISAX journey. Thank you again.
Thank you.